From her days with Fleetwood Mac to her extensive solo career, Stevie Nicks has enjoyed more than 30 years at the top of the rock music scene. In a Sunday morning profile, she told Rita Braver she won't stop thinking about tomorrow.
You've described yourself over the years as primarily a storyteller. And if people listen to your songs, the melodies carry them, but the lyrics are so intricate. How do you go about writing a song?
It just starts with a little inspiration. Something will happen to me, whether it's something that happens to me, whether it's a man walks by me and just smiles at me in a certain way that just makes me go, what a beautiful smile that was, you know. Then I just might go and write, you know, and go, the smile was the only thing I saw, ... And there I'm off then. You know, it's like then my poem is begun. And if the poem gets finished, if it's laying around the house and the poem gets finished, then and I think it's good, then I'll go sit at the piano and I'll make it into a song.
Let's talk about Gypsy, for example, another song you're really associated with. How'd you come up with that one?
Gypsy was written when another time when I moved out of a big house into a really small house, and I put my bed on the floor and just decorated it totally gypsy-esque and really funky, and because I really wanted to get away from the big time, like this, very sophisticated home. I just wanted to go back to my roots. And that's what, you know, so I'm back to the Velvet Underground, back to the floor that I love, to a room with some lace and paper flowers, back to the gypsy that I was.
For some reason, there got to be sort of a rumor that you were a witch, or you fancied yourself as a witch.
That came from Rhiannon. That came because when I read the book Rhiannon, the novel we talked about, I kind of remembered that novel as perceiving Rhiannon as a witch.
And you even described her sometimes when you went on stage.
Right, I'd say this is a story of a Welsh witch. But then, of course, I find out 5 years later that she wasn't a witch at all, but she was a goddess, and she could whittle birds, and she could turn into a white horse, and she had these birds that sung her song, and she was a total mythological Welsh queen. So she wasn't a witch, and that was, so I was totally misleading everybody. But there was a time when it sort of freaked me out because I wear black. And why? Because we look thin in black. And everybody's like, she wears black, and she has these black wingy things that she wears, and so she must be a witch. And I stopped wearing black for about 2 years. And I had all my clothes made into, like, you know, apricot and pale blue and seafoam green and horrible colors, because I was freaked out that somebody'd come and kidnap me because I was a witch. So this was crazy, because I am not I like to think that I'm Glenda or something, but I'm not like a black magic witch.
You mentioned, though, some of your clothes. I mean, sometimes you wore, like when you look back now at the different hairstyles in some of those videos and the different get-ups, were you trying for a certain look?
Well, I wonder that when I look at some of those pictures where the permed hair was what, I mean, all the clothes that I wore, I loved, because I've had the same designer. Her name is Margie Kent, and she still makes my clothes for my stage clothes. And I loved all my clothes, because all my clothes that she made were couture, beautiful clothes, and I've still got them today. They all lasted. So what changed was my horrible hair.
It was, you know, it was very different than you are now.
And it was, you know, so it would be to here, and then it would come up to here, and it would be so permed that, and then once it's permed, you're stuck. So, but it wasn't as much work. This is a lot of work. Permed hair is not a lot of work. So I'd let it grow out, and it would get straight, and I'd like it, but it was a lot of work, and then I'd perm it. So that's kind of what happened. The hair went from perm to growing out perm to really bad growing out perm to almost straight to good straight to long straight to beautiful straight to a lot of work straight back to the perm.